Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Thrifty Marketer Talks. This is episode 53. Last time I had a guest, but she couldn't join, and it was kind of an embarrassing moment for me, but that's okay. Things happen, people get busy, and all that. So today, I've been waiting to get a guest on the show to do something about marketing. It's my field. It's where I work. It's the area where I focus on. So I wanted to pick up a topic on marketing to kickstart more episodes on marketing as such, right? So what happened was. All of a sudden, you might be seeing in your social media feeds these days, Chat GPT. It's an AI platform, apparently funded by Mr. Elon Musk, etc. It has been making a lot of waves about how AI is going to transform the way marketers and customer success or customer service folks will work, right? So ChatGPT, I've been seeing a lot of stories, a lot of predictions, a lot of gurus sharing their tips and tricks and predicting stuff that's going to happen. Then when I was interacting with a couple of friends of mine who are into marketing, they were talking about the future of all of us, right? Is it gonna be? Are we gonna get replaced by AI? Are we gonna? Is our jobs in danger, etc., etc.? So among all these chatter, I always fall back on a couple of experts on marketing. So one of them is one of my favorite people on this planet, and he has arrived. I could see that, and I am blushing and smiling. So he shared a lot of good. He's very keen on sharing. He's a fast mover on all the new things which come up in marketing and customer experience, etc. So he shared a lot of two blog posts, if I'm not wrong, about Chat GPT especially. So I read that and I could see that this can bust a lot of myths for marketers. Hey, Brad saying good morning. I wanted to bring him on, and I asked, and he agreed. I was so happy to hear that. So today's guest is none other than Mark Schaefer. He's, as I mentioned, he's one of my favorite people on this planet. Not only marketer, people. I repeat it again. So for those of you who don't know him, he's a globally recognized keynote speaker, educator, business consultant, and author. His blog and podcast, The Marketing Companion, are at the top of the charts in the marketing field. Mark has worked in global sales, PR, marketing position for over 30 years, and he provides consulting services as the executive director of Schaefer Marketing Solutions. He's also an advisor to several tech startups and also B Squared Media. He has advanced degrees in marketing and organizational development, holds 7 patents. He's a faculty member of graduate studies program at Rutgers University. The best part comes now. He is the best-selling author of 9 amazing books. One of them is here. I'll talk about it later. All his books are bestsellers. I love his books. I love his writing because of its clarity. No jargons, nothing. It's so simple. Everybody can understand. He puts concepts very nice. So his books are used as textbooks in more than 50 universities, have been translated into 12 languages. If you follow him, you can see how many he keeps sharing. My book got translated into Japanese. My book got translated into Chinese. So it keeps happening in this world. And it can be found in more than 750 libraries. He's a popular and entertaining commentator and has appeared in several national television shows like Wall Street Journal, Wired, New York Times, etc. So I can do a show on him actually. Basically, I can talk about him for 1 hour arams, without any hindrance. So let me bring him on.
That was by far the most enthusiastic introduction I've ever had.
I highly doubt that because I have seen you on many shows and I have seen people introducing you much far better than this. But thank you so much for taking time out and coming on the show. How are you doing, by the way?
I'm good. winding down here. We're supposed to have a big, in America, we're having this big snowstorm go across America. So we're getting ready here. But it's so much fun. I couldn't wait to see you. It's been a while. It's been too long since I've got to see your face, and appreciate you and everything you do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. And lots to talk about. So one of the things which have been going around is Chat GPT, and then suddenly AI has come into the spotlight, etc. So I thought let me ask you some questions about it, so that it can clarify a lot of doubts for a lot of marketers. So if you're ready, we can start.
Let's go.
Absolutely. The first question again, Chat GPT, 1 million users in under a week. So why do you think this particular platform has witnessed this kind of traction so quickly?
Well, it's interesting. I was talking to my son about it, and I wrote him a note. I said, "Have you tried this? Boy, you've got to get into this." Now, my son is a technologist. He's an entrepreneur, and he writes code. And he said, he responded to me. He said, "Dad, I've been using this for more than a year."
Wow.
Now, what's different? Why have now it's up to 2 million people joined in 10 days. By far the fastest adoption of technology in history. Here's what made the difference. You don't have to be a technologist to use it. It has a simple interface like Google.
Right.
So my son was using it to write, help him write code.
Right.
But you had to be a technologist to understand it. Now you don't. That's what's changed. That's why the adoption has exploded.
Absolutely. I've been playing, tinkering with it for last 1 week, and it's amazing.
It is amazing.
We have been having some fun sessions within our team about ChatGPT, doing a lot of quirky stuff. And I tried some of your advice in one of the blog posts about quirky ways to use it. So I tried some of them, and it worked fantastically, actually. All right. So you have been monitoring ChatGPT pretty closely and been writing about the technology as well. So how do you think, the big question, this tool is going to impact the marketing folks or the marketing community?
Well, first of all, thank you for reading my blog and being such a great supporter and being familiar with what I've written about this. And because you and I have been friends for a long time, I wrote this blog post last week that said why Chat GPT is going to change marketing forever. I have never said those words before in my life.
Right.
I didn't say it when the internet was started. I didn't say it when Facebook started, because those things had to evolve. We had to figure out what does the internet mean to business. You look at Web3. We're figuring it out.
Right.
Are people really going to have digital wallets? Are they going to use NFTs, or is it just kind of spooky to people right now? Now, here's this thing that was adopted by 2 million people, and it's significant in a lot of ways. But as you said, first of all, it's really good. It's really helpful. And here's the scary part. The parent company is named OpenAI. This is their old technology.
Right.
It's based on GPT-3. They already have GPT-4. And guess what? Who has the greatest AI capabilities in the world? Google. Look, Google isn't going to sit around.
Right.
So what happened 2 weeks ago with 2 million people jumping onto GPT-3, in this form called Chat GPT? This is just the beginning.
Right.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. It's going to get more powerful, more useful, more fun, and it's going to happen really fast.
Right.
Now, the analogy that I've been using, Vivek, in my talks about this is, you're probably too young to remember, but when I was a young guy in the 80s, the big controversy was calculators.
Right.
All right, so calculators rolled out, and it's like, well, we still need to teach math. And people are saying, but why?
Right.
Calculators aren't going to go away. Well, we still need to teach math in school, and you're not allowed to use calculators. Well, look, now everybody uses calculators. I haven't done longhand math in 20 years.
Right.
The calculators are part of our lives. It makes us better. It makes us more efficient. It gives us almost like a new brain, a new math brain. We don't have to know all that stuff. We can use this. That's very reliable.
Right.
Now, a lot of people, I just got off a conversation right before this one, and the woman was telling me how she's fighting this.
Right.
She's fighting AI. She said, I feel like I'm fighting gravity because we're taking the human element out of our world. And I said, not necessarily. We might be making it more human.
Right.
Bringing calculators into the world. Did that take the humanity out of math? No, it brought humanity into math because it made everybody a great mathematician that could solve almost any problem.
Right.
That's what's happening with AI. It can make anybody a competent creator. It can make, anybody a good writer. If you've suffered your whole life trying to write, now you can write. If you,
Right.
it's still maybe your ideas and it's still your story and your flair. So it's not going to go away. It's just like a calculator. It gives everybody a new competency.
Right.
It levels up people in a new way. And we need, it's not fighting gravity. We need to adopt it. We need to
Right.
adapt. We need to adopt because it's here and it's here for good.
Right. Got it. Got it. Because based on my experience, I feel that I may be wrong here. I feel that it's not a threat for marketers because at the end of it, the machine is as smart as the person operating it. That's what I felt. Because I tried ChatGPT to write an entire blog post, but after a point, I could see that based on my input, the AI engine gives me new take on a topic.
Yeah.
Otherwise it will be all plagiarized content. Everybody will be publishing the same thing. So it's again
which they probably will now.
exactly right. So my next question is again extension of this question. Do you think AI intervention like ChatGPT, I'm not saying only ChatGPT, like any intervention, there are a lot of things which write social media posts by itself, there are things which create graphics for you, etc., etc. Do you think it will impact marketers negatively, or will it be a value addition to our work?
It will be both.
Okay.
And it depends on what you do and what your specialty is. When this whole idea was breaking, as you know, because I know you follow my blog and my podcast, I interviewed a fellow named Shelley Palmer. Shelley is a very, very famous tech analyst. And I said, if there's anybody that can give us some insight and some perspective on what this means to the marketing world, it would be Shelley. And the analogy he gave was the music industry in the 1980s. He said, look, I was in the music industry, and back in the 80s, if you wanted to create music for a commercial or a television show, you needed a band.
Right.
Maybe an orchestra. Starting in 1986, I could do all of that on one music workstation.
Right.
I could have drums, guitars, trumpets, whatever I needed. In 1 year, half the musicians were unemployed in New York City.
Wow.
All right. Now, if your job is to create simple blog posts, your job is going to go away. Many of those jobs are going to go away. If your job is to orchestrate a customer strategy and use content strategically, like someone writing the music, then your job just became a lot easier.
Right.
You can get more ideas, more content, and you can get it faster than ever before for almost no money. So if you're creating a commodity product like blog posts that everybody else is writing, we don't need you anymore. We got a computer that can do that.
Right.
And it's going to make your job go away or make it a lot more difficult. If you're thinking about using this in a way to augment your strategy, to really help customers, to be strategic, to have a vision, to have insight, then this is going to help you. So depending on what your role is, it can help you or it can hurt you.
Absolutely. Those are some very important words: insights, strategy, vision. These are the things which a marketer today cannot live without. That's absolutely makes sense to me. Right. So I read the blog post which I mentioned about the entertaining uses of Chat GPT. You had mentioned 20 of them. So according to you, if I have to ask, what are some of the use cases where Chat GPT will be a boon for marketers?
Well, it's exciting and it's also depressing.
Right.
So I just finished my new book.
Wow.
You mentioned in your introduction, I've written 9 books. Well, I've actually written 10.
Right.
And there's a new book. It's a little secret right now. It's actually out on Kindle right now for $1.99 US dollars. It's going to be that price for just a few days.
Right.
But the book will be out in January. Vivek, it took me 2 years to write this book.
Wow.
2 years of research and writing. So yesterday, I put a prompt into ChatGPT to ask it a question that I answered in the book. And in 5 seconds, it came out and I said, give me the answer with academic references.
Right.
So in 5 seconds, I had an answer with academic references that probably would have taken me 3 hours 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So in one way, this makes me excited. In another way, it's like, oh my gosh, I spent 2 years writing this, and this stupid machine just gave me an answer in 5 seconds.
Right.
So what are the implications? Now, some of the things it said in its answer were not 100% right. And I've done the work to know that. For someone like me that has a lot of ideas to get out into the world, this might help me get the ideas out faster. Maybe instead of writing a book every 2 years, maybe I'll be able to write one every 1 year.
Right.
I've already got it. I've already got an idea for another book that I think would be so much fun and exciting. And so, could this help me write it faster? Or will people say, oh no, not another Mark Schaefer book?
One of these things will happen for sure.
One of these things will happen. So I think, we're still figuring it out.
Absolutely.
It's exciting and depressing at the same time. I mean, part of me feels the same way mathematicians felt in the 80s.
Right.
Oh, but I love the old way. I love doing math problems. And part of me is like, I love to write. I love the challenge of writing. I don't want it to go away. I want to be special.
Right.
I'm a good writer.
Right.
It's hard to be a good writer. I don't want everybody to be a good writer.
Right.
I got to give that up.
Yeah.
I got to give that up. Now everybody can be a good writer. So
Right.
I've got to, I'm still going to be okay because I think I still have a certain story, a certain personality.
Right.
And by the way, here's the most important lesson of all. I think people watching and listening today, if they take one lesson away, it's something I've been talking about for 7 or 8 years because we knew this day was coming with
Right.
technology. The only thing that can protect us is our personal brand. And that's why I'm going to be okay, because people know me and they trust me. Known, right? They trust me. They love me. They know me. And people are still going to read my blog. They're still going to listen to my podcast. They're still going to love my books because they want to hear from me, not a chatbot. They want to hear from me because I've done the work to create a personal brand. It's the only thing that can save us. If you're a copywriter who no one has ever heard of before, your job's probably going to go away. If you're a marketer who has created a personal brand, you're still going to be in demand. You're still going to be beloved because people have an emotional attachment to you. You're not
Right.
a commodity. You're known. And so I've been saying this for years. This is the only sustainable competitive advantage we have as human beings. Either you're known or you're not. And this is the crossroads, right? Where
Correct.
all this is
Correct.
coming true. It's the
Absolutely.
only thing that can save us as marketers and really as professionals. Either you're known or you're not. So work on it now. Work on it hard because the technology's coming to get us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. Right. So, next question, it's not only about content, AI has found its application across the marketing field, sorry, content creation, personalization, chatbots. So, what are your thoughts on AI's role in marketing going forward? Not only from a content perspective, but overall.
I think the thing to watch is that what AI excels at is detecting patterns and helping you respond to patterns.
Right.
So one of the issues we have today is we're overwhelmed with data. I mean, we've got so much information.
Right.
So AI can help us find the patterns.
Right.
And then the genius part of marketing is figuring out how do we respond to those patterns better than our competitors, faster
Right.
than our competitors, and getting it out there.
Right.
So that would be point number one. Point number two. I was preparing for I do personal consulting calls to help people with their strategies.
Right.
Anybody in the world can go to my website and sign up for an hour. But what
Right.
this means, Vivek, is that I get calls from people in every kind of industry you can imagine. And I might not be an expert in those industries.
Right.
Now I go to ChatGPT and I'll say, what are the top 10 trends I should be aware of in the food industry, in the fitness industry,
Right.
in clothing, boutique salons? And so I can have kind of a good idea of what's going on with my customers before I ever get on the phone with them.
Right.
So and I can start help them thinking about, what are the changes? What are the patterns?
Right.
So I think that's interesting. Eventually, it may help us not just detect patterns, but respond to patterns.
Right.
The beauty of marketing is that it's transferable to almost any field. So,
Absolutely.
if I'm talking to you and you have a problem, I can sort of think of a portfolio of solutions that might work for you. Then I talk to someone else the next day who, is creating some new unique fitness program. I can
Right.
listen, ask questions, and go through this portfolio and say, all right, here's the pattern, what fits. Eventually we might be able to use AI not just for detecting problems, but for coming up with solutions. So
Right.
that'll be interesting.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There is a lot of speculations and concerns in the marketing community. I've been talking to a few people that suddenly the topic has become hotter. Like, will AI take away our jobs?
Yeah.
I want to know. You already touched on this, but I
Yeah.
want to really pick your brain on that. Do you belong to that school of thought? Will, matlab, it's like, will majority of marketers are in threat, or a certain subsection of marketers are in threat?
Well, I don't know how to answer that. Let's maybe I think the answer to that question is people who create information will be replaced.
Okay.
People who create insights will not.
Right.
I think that's the answer. I've got friends. I mean, their job is copywriter.
Right.
I think they're going to be replaced
Right.
because
Right.
they're just right. They have a task to do that now a
Right.
computer can do better.
Right.
Now, if you're a person and what you do is you solve a hard problem for your customers, then that's something that people are still going to need. They're still going to need you to do. I mentioned I
Right.
do these coaching calls. I'm getting more calls than ever
Right.
because I create insights.
Right.
It's hard to put specific problems into a computer. You're going to get a commodity answer out. You're not going to get a specific answer out.
Right.
So I'm not afraid of being replaced because I create insights.
Absolutely, that's the right answer. I mean, that's where we all should be ideally. But let's see. All right. So one of the other things which I have always noticed about you is you always have a far first mover advantage. When you predict things, you are like a much kinder version of Gary Vaynerchuk, if I may put it that way. I love him also. I know you have a different take on him sometimes, but he is also having crazy radar for new things which are going to come up, or I have seen you also do that. And I've seen you predict things which has happened after 3 years, 4 years, because I know you for last 7 years, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So one of the things which I always admire about you is you tinker with things. You have your Rise community playing around in hot tub, in metaverse, and things like that. So it's like, I want to understand, is Mark Schaefer a big proponent of AI in marketing?
Well, so first of all, thank you for the kind words. I think it's not really right now. It's not really a decision. I mean, it's like for me, it's like saying, "Are you a proponent of water?"
Right.
Because it's look. I think as philosophically, AI to me is frightening. If you listen to the people who really are experts in artificial intelligence, every one of them recognizes that AI could be a threat to the human race.
Right.
All right. Now, that is not in my control.
Right.
Um, so just like water is not in my control.
Right.
I think what I want to do, what I hope to do, is to do everything I can to encourage people to use this resource in a responsible and ethical way, just like I would encourage people to use water in a responsible and ethical way that doesn't destroy our planet.
Right.
So it's not really something I can weigh in on, being a proponent or not. It's just a tool,
Right.
It's just like, am I a proponent of writing? Am I a proponent of
Social
math?
media. Right.
It's like it's you just have to use it in a responsible and ethical way that helps people, and that's what I'm going to do.
Fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, since you mentioned, you answered it from a philosophical standpoint as well. Recently you shared 5 lessons from your marketing career. That featured grit, experimenting, and focus. It was one of the best articles I have read. One of the best.
Thank you.
So I loved it. So I always tell to my team also about experimenting, etc. Because we are marketers, we need to run as many experiments as possible. But how do you think these qualities will help marketers survive, or maybe get through this all these fast changes that are happening in this field?
That's a wonderful question. And so I have a community called Rise, that we're devoted. The purpose of our community is to learn about the future of marketing.
Right.
And my first question is, why aren't you part of this community, Vivek? Because you need to be there.
Right. Yeah.
It's free and open to everybody.
Right.
Now, some people in the community, we're learning about Chat GPT 3 and Web 3, and I believe it or not, I bought a penthouse in the metaverse where we have parties.
Right.
Now, people in my community say, "Oh, this is overwhelming, and how do we understand all this?" You know what? If you're in my community, if you're on Discord talking about Web3 and coming to a party in the metaverse, you're already ahead of 95% of the marketers in the world.
Absolutely. I completely
All right?
agree.
So don't be so hard on yourself. And my point is, you're trying.
Right.
You're learning. You're not an expert. And you probably don't have to be an expert. You have to know enough to ask the right questions.
Right.
Being a marketing leader does not mean you have all the answers. It means you have the right questions.
Right.
Right? I'm a great blogger, not because I have all the right answers. Nobody does.
Right.
But I ask the right questions.
Right.
And so to be relevant, you need to keep experimenting. You need to
Correct.
try Web3. You need to buy an NFT. You need to, just come to one of our parties in the metaverse.
Right.
So you and these are all little experiments. And for some people, getting a digital wallet or attending something in the metaverse, that might be a big experiment. For other
Absolutely.
people, it's a little experiment, because it's not that big of a deal to me. But
Right.
at least you're pushing, you're trying. And, look, one of the things we do in our community is people actually give presentations in the metaverse.
Wow.
So they have a screenshot of themselves giving a presentation in the metaverse, a 5-minute presentation. Now, how cool is that to put on your website?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right? So experiment. Just try. Try everything, and don't worry about being overwhelmed. Don't worry. Give up on the idea of being an expert. You
Right.
know what? Here's the truth. No one on this planet understands the internet.
That's true. That's true.
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody. And they never will. That doesn't mean you can't be a great digital marketer.
Absolutely.
You have to
Absolutely.
know enough to ask the right questions and help your customers.
Right. So I have completed around 16, 17 years in marketing. One thing I can say for sure, there is not even a single marketing expert in this world.
Right.
I've never met. I like people who are good marketers, who have the mentality to help others, because a marketer needs to be helping people as a basic thumb rule, right? So
Exactly.
I follow those people
Right.
who know their stuff and who are willing to help others. You are one of them. Musa Tariq of GoFundMe is one of them. Gary Vaynerchuk is one of them. So very few people I follow regularly, but that's the one thing I have learned after all these years. No
Yeah.
expert in this field. Cool. So that's fantastic. It's time to join the Rice community for sure. Right.
Yeah.
Um,
And if anybody listening wants to try, just my website is Businesses Grow. It's
right.
easy to remember, and right at the top it says community, and you can learn about the community. And
Absolutely.
it's free. It's open,
Right.
and we have amazing events and amazing speakers, and we
Right.
help each other. And it's kind.
Right.
It's generous. It's kind. It's supportive. I will tolerate no toxicity
Right.
whatsoever. So
Right.
it's a safe place to learn.
Absolutely. One of my biggest regrets is that I don't live in US,
Yeah.
because I cannot attend your uprising event. I miss a lot of things where I could meet people like you. So that is one regret I have, based on the
Well,
geography where I live in.
here's one of my proudest moments in with our community. So we had a metaverse event, and at the end of the metaverse event, we went into another porthole, and we were on a virtual ski slope,
Right.
and the sun was setting over the mountains, and it was absolutely beautiful.
Right.
And we learned something new every time we're in the metaverse. This time we learned we could jump into the hot tub, and with our clothes on, our digital clothes,
Right.
we would be submerged. Now, I was in a hot tub with someone from Australia,
Right.
Ireland, Belgium, England, Canada, all of
Right.
us. It was a
Right.
global. It was a look, it's not like having a drink in a real hot tub, but we were gathered,
Right.
a global community, laughing and having fun. And so, it doesn't matter where you live.
Absolutely.
You can be part of this and have fun. And that's what makes this special. And that's what makes the metaverse special, is because we can gather, we can dance. We
Right.
can
Right.
dance. We had an AI generated art show and a Christmas
Right.
party. And,
Right.
so it was a lot of fun.
Right. So people have been asking, share the link. So it's businessesgrow.com.
Yeah.
BUSINESSES grow.com. So please check it out and join the Rice community, and check out his blog first. Go through at least 10 to 20 blog posts. You will learn about marketing a lot. All right. So coming to your books, I have two questions on that. First is the last book, Cumulative Advantage. You had a chapter dedicated to curiosity, right? As a marketer, we need to be curious. We keep saying that, but we hardly follow it sometimes. So in the chapter, you talk about seeing opportunities in adversities and staying ahead. We are right in middle of, we can maybe call it an adversity. It's about how you look at it, glass half full or half empty. How do you think staying curious can help marketers stay immune to these kind of technology interventions?
Well, yeah, great question. And every time there's a disruption in the book, I call it a fracture in the status quo. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, ChatGPT. This is an earthquake.
Right.
It's not just a fracture. It's the Grand Canyon. It's a fracture. Now, you can either say, oh my gosh, I feel threatened by this. Or you can say, what's special about me that I can apply to this change?
Right.
Now, so what's special about me? I am a good teacher.
Right.
So what the world needs me to do right now is teach them about this change. You're allowing me to do that today, right? You're asking me questions about this. You're saying, teacher, help us understand what this is going on. Right. So this is a way I'm becoming, in a way, more relevant, more powerful, because I'm applying my special skill to this change.
Right.
So you have to think about, and this gets back to the known book that you showed a few minutes ago.
Right.
What am I known for, and how am I relevant to this change?
Right.
We have so much going on. Think about, in politics and the pandemic and Gen Z. I mean, Gen Z, that's another earthquake.
Right.
Absolutely. They really are. I mean, Gen Z is making big changes to culture, music, fashion, politics.
Right.
So how are you relevant to Gen Z? How are you relevant interpreting Gen Z? How are you relevant teaching Gen Z? So all these changes are opportunities.
Right.
And and all these changes, for some people, it can be a threat. For many people, really for all people, it can also be a new way to be relevant. It's like if you know what you're good at, it's like a surfer with a good surfboard.
Right.
And when ChatGPT 3 comes, or Gen Z comes, or the next big change comes, you don't need to throw away your surfboard. You just need a new wave. This is a new wave for what I'm good at. How do I become relevant in the world of this new change?
Absolutely, that's a perfect way to put it. Surfboard, yeah. You need to maybe you need to wax it differently. You never know, right? But yeah, that's a very good analogy, right? All right, so I think I am done with the AI related questions. Now I have two more questions. One is about your book. As you know, I love reading your books. I've got this signed copy from you last time, and I still treasure it. I read it regularly because I keep facing challenges with building my work, building my content. I go to non regularly. So the new book is coming. It's called Belonging to the Brand. I voted for the cover, and I think that cover didn't win, by the way. So it's coming out in January. So as everybody would love to know, what new Mark Schaefer magic is in it, and when will we get to read it?
Well, all right. So I have a little secret for you and your fans today. So the book is launching officially on January 9th.
Okay.
Well, right now, for a few days, it's available on Kindle for $1.99.
All right.
So it's like a secret little soft launch.
Right.
But it'll be available in paper, hardback, and audiobook around January 9th. So I wanted to, just for a few of my friends, I wanted to get the book in their hands early, and certainly you are one of my friends, and we'll let your fans and your audience in on the secret as well. Now, why is this important?
Right.
So you mentioned very kindly earlier that I have a good track record sort of seeing what's going to be next.
Right.
I think, Vivek, that there are three mega trends colliding right now in a very profound way.
Right.
Trend number one. This is this message I had in my book, Marketing Rebellion.
Right.
Marketing like we used to do it doesn't work anymore.
Right.
When our customers have the accumulated knowledge of the human race in the palm of their hand, they don't need to be manipulated anymore.
Right.
They have a different expectation of brands and marketers. All right.
Right.
That's point number one. The old ways don't work anymore. Number two, this is what you and I have just been talking about for 45 minutes.
Right.
There is a technological revolution happening right now that are going to help us connect and belong in community in entirely new ways.
Right.
NFTs, metaverse, Web3, even artificial intelligence. That's
Right.
number two. Number three, I think the biggest megatrend of the decade is mental health. There's so much pressure, so much stress. We're still suffering through this
Right.
pandemic.
Absolutely.
And people are, there's a trend of overwhelming sadness for me. There was a headline in the New York Times that said, the loneliest generation,
True.
Gen Z. The more time we spend online, we think we're connected, but we're not. The more time we spend online, the lonelier, more isolated, and more depressed we feel.
Absolutely.
There was a research report just came out last week from McKinsey. It said 51% of people aged 18 to 24, 51% have sought medical attention for a mental health problem.
Wow.
The average for all the other generations, 24%.
Doubled it.
It's stunning. This
Right.
is a big, big, big issue. Businesses and companies are going to be dealing with for years. Now, you put those three things together. We've got to do something new. We've got
Right.
new technology to do it. And our customers are crying out to belong.
Right.
Here's the answer. Community. Not the way we've been doing it so far,
Right.
but a new vision of community that's focused on brand marketing, not customer service.
Right.
And that's the I think the profound idea behind this new book. Is that a
Fantastic.
big part of the future of marketing and business is community. Because think
Right.
about this. Marketing messages, branding content, interruptions on YouTube,
Right.
advertising. People hate it.
Everybody hates it.
They're paying more for streaming services to not have ads.
Right.
Community is the only kind of marketing people love.
Right.
If you have a community, guess what? You don't need SEO. You
Right.
don't need ads. You don't need branded content. You've got a
Right.
group of people who love you, who will sustain you, who will buy everything you have because they're part of your community.
Right.
So it's important and it's profound. And so here's another little thing that's kind of crazy.
Right.
The day I wrote the last words of the book was finished.
Right.
McKinsey came out with a major research report that said community is the next big thing in marketing.
proves my point. Proves my point.
Mic drop.
Right. I can't wait to read this book. Actually, sounds well, obviously it's going to be a bestseller, but I'm pretty sure it's a book I think every leader, to every Gen Z person or maybe a junior resource in marketing should read, because all those days are gone when you create content, you post it and people like it and you get leads out of it and business out of it. All those days are gone. Community is a big thing. I have some of my good friends working in HubSpot community team, etc., who have been doing fantastic work and proving that community is going to be the thing. for everybody. So fantastic. Thank you so much for writing the book. I will obviously get it after this call from Kindle, and I'll read it, and I'll share my thoughts on it. And thank you so much for coming on the show. So my final question: how is the holiday plans coming up in the Schaefer household, with Rebecca and every kids and Elijah? Everybody will be part of it, I'm pretty sure.
It's already, we're already having fun. We had our big we mentor young children that are in maybe they don't have parents, they don't, they're living in a tough situation. And so we had our big Christmas party. We had 13 kids at our house last night.
Wow.
And just had so much fun. They were running all around, and we had a fire in the backyard. And we meant to have a fire. It was planned.
It was a planned fire. Okay.
Yeah, don't get the wrong idea. And my children are coming home. My daughter's on her way.
Right.
I just, as we were talking, I just got a message from my daughter saying she's on her way home. So it's going to be fine. It's going to be a time of relaxation and love and peace. And we certainly need more of that in the world. So it's coming at a good time.
Absolutely. It's not only your professional side I follow. I follow. I've told you this multiple times. I try to emulate you in every area because you are a good role model. I would love to, be like, the personal side of it as well. Be it family or be your story itself, or the way you take care of others. I really respect that and try to follow that. So happy holidays and thank you so much for coming on the show, and looking forward to reading your book.
All right, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, so that was Mark Schaefer. As I mentioned, I am not a big fan of gurus and experts, etc. There are only few people I follow. As I mentioned, Musa Tariq from GoFundMe is another person, very kind CMO. Very few kind CMOs around to follow, etc. So he's one of them. Gary Vaynerchuk, obviously, because of his empathy and his stories and his content storytelling, etc., etc. So these are good people, and I'm glad God has blessed me with opportunities to interact with them virtually, at least. And you go check out the new book by Mark Schaefer, Belonging to the Brand. It's available on Kindle for $1.99. Check it out and read it. You will not regret it. And I hope to see you all in 2023 with a lot of amazing guests and amazing topics. The Thrifty Marketer Talks will keep rolling. And I wish you all happy holidays and fantastic time with your family and friends. Take care. Bye-bye.